A book so ancient. Heaven tried to erase it. A man so ordinary, yet chosen to see the secrets of angels. What if there was a story older than every empire, older than the first written word, a story so dangerous, heaven itself tried to bury it? This is the forbidden vision of Enoch, the man who was taken alive into heaven and shown the secrets no mortal was meant to see. Enoch was not a king or a warrior. He was a man of faith, a man who walked with God, but one night, the world he knew vanished forever. The night was still. Enoch lay asleep, his breath calm, his home lit only by a flickering lamp. Then, without warning, light filled the room, a light so pure and blinding it was unlike any sunrise. Two figures stood beside his bed. They were not men. They towered over him, their faces brighter than fire, their garments glowing like molten metal. Their eyes burned like lamps, and their wings stretched so wide they filled every corner of the room. Fear gripped him. But one of the angels spoke softly, his voice calm yet carrying the weight of heaven itself. "Enoch, do not be afraid. The Eternal One has sent us for you. Tonight, you will rise with us." Before Enoch could respond, he felt himself lifted from his bed. The angels carried him out of his home, through the cool night air, into the dark sky. Clouds spun beneath him. The stars passed like sparks in a vast ocean of darkness. They rose higher and higher, until the air itself grew thin, and the world below shrank to nothing but a shadow. Enoch was no longer on earth. He entered the first heaven, a realm of endless light, filled with voices singing in languages he had never heard, and yet somehow understood. Beings of pure radiance moved through halls of crystal and fire. The air shimmered as if it was alive. Enoch felt small, like a child stepping into a world beyond imagination. But this was only the beginning. The angels had not brought him here just to witness glory, they brought him to reveal a tragedy. His vision shifted. He now stood on a towering mountain, Mount Hermon, its snowy peak rising through the clouds. The sky was heavy with shadow. Suddenly, he saw them, 200 angels, descending like a storm. Their leader, a mighty one named Semjaza, stood at the front, his face set in grim determination. That night, under a sky filled with silent stars, these angels swore a terrifying oath. An oath to abandon heaven's purity. An oath to take mortal women as wives. An oath that could never be undone. And so they descended into the world of men. They taught humanity secrets never meant for mortal hands, enchantments, forbidden magic, astrology, sorcery, and the art of war. One angel, Azazel, taught mankind to forge weapons of bronze and iron, to make swords and shields, to kill with efficiency. He taught women vanity, how to paint their faces, wear jewels, and seduce. The earth changed forever. From their union with mortal women came creatures unlike anything the world had seen, giants. They were monstrous, towering over villages, consuming all the food of men. And when the earth could no longer feed them, they turned to flesh and blood, devouring men, women, and even one another. The world was drowning in blood. Cities burned. Humanity lived in terror, as monsters roamed the earth and angels ruled in arrogance. Enoch watched in horror as the angels, once radiant and pure, now bathed the earth in corruption. And heaven was watching. The vision shifted again. Now, before Enoch stood four mighty archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. Their faces were full of sorrow, their voices trembling with grief. "Lord of heaven," they cried, "the earth is drowning in blood. The cries of the innocent rise to your throne." And the Lord's voice thundered across creation, "Enough." Judgment was declared. Bind Azazel in chains of iron. Cast him beneath jagged stones. Cover him with darkness until the day of fire. Enoch saw angels descend like lightning. They seized Azazel, the one who had armed humanity for war, and bound him. Chains heavier than mountains wrapped around his body. He was hurled into a pit so deep that light itself fled from it. One by one, the watchers, angels who had broken their oath, were captured. Their wings were clipped, their crowns stripped away. Once radiant beings, they were now prisoners of shadow, sealed beneath the earth for 70 generations. But their punishment was not yet complete. Their monstrous children, the giants born of corruption, would be cursed to rise against one another until none remained. And then, a storm would come. A flood unlike any before. In the vision, Enoch saw Noah. The Lord whispered, "Hide yourself. Build what I command. For judgment is coming." But before this judgment could fall, the Lord appointed a messenger, a man who would speak to the fallen angels themselves. And that man was Enoch. The angels carried him deep into the abyss, where even light dared not enter. There, in a cavernous pit, he saw the watchers. Once proud and radiant, now their faces glowed faintly, their wings bound, their pride broken. When they saw Enoch, they trembled. "Write for us a plea," they begged. "Take our cries before the Almighty. Ask him for forgiveness." Enoch obeyed. He wrote their sorrow, their pleas, their desperate hope for mercy. But when he carried this scroll before the throne of the Most High, the answer was final: no. Enoch returned to the abyss. His voice shook as he spoke their sentence: "You will never return to heaven. Your place among the stars is lost forever. Your sons will perish before your eyes. And your cries for mercy will not be heard." The watchers bowed their heads. Chains rattled in the darkness. Their punishment had begun. But Enoch's journey was far from over. The angels took him higher, far beyond the earth, beyond the stars themselves. They carried him through clouds of fire, through gates of light, into a realm of unimaginable splendor. There, a palace rose like a mountain of crystal, flames flowing around it like rivers. Enoch trembled. He stood before the throne of glory. Its brilliance was blinding, brighter than 1,000 suns. From beneath it flowed streams of fire. 10,000 times 10,000 angels surrounded it, singing praises that shook the heavens. A voice like thunder filled the air: "Enoch, faithful scribe of truth, deliver my message. The watchers will never find peace. Their spirits will wander the earth as demons." But heaven had more to show him. Enoch was carried across the mysteries of creation. He saw the chambers of wind that controlled the storms, the vaults of fire that blazed like suns, and the storerooms of lightning, hail, and snow, each sealed with a heavenly seal. He saw mountains of crystal and gold, rivers that glowed with starlight, and gates where angels guided the paths of every star. In the deep, he saw Leviathan, a serpent so vast its coils encircled oceans, its scales like iron walls. And Behemoth, a beast rooted to the land, as immovable as a mountain. Both were reserved for the final day, when heaven's judgment would shake land and sea. He was shown the prisons of the stars that had rebelled, their light turned to a curse, bound in chains of fire. And there, in darkness, lay angels locked away, waiting for the hour of judgment. But there was one mystery greater than all. Enoch was carried to a place brighter than any star. There he saw him, the one hidden before the world began. The Son of Man. His face shone brighter than the sun. A crown of eternal light rested upon his head, and all of heaven bowed in reverence before him. "This is the elect one," whispered the angels. "The judge of all flesh. His name was known before the stars were lit." Enoch saw thrones crumble like dust in his presence. Kings who once ruled the earth fell to their knees. The proud were stripped of their power. Every deed, every thought was laid bare before his blazing gaze. This was no ordinary king. This was the chosen ruler of heaven and earth. The vision darkened. The sky split apart, mountains melted like wax, and rivers of fire poured from heaven's gates. The sea roared with fury, and lightning cracked the sky. Enoch saw chains forged by angels, chains heavier than mountains, prepared for kings, spirits, and every rebel who defied heaven. The mighty ones who once ruled the world were dragged like prisoners, their crowns shattered, their voices silenced. And then, silence. The cries of the wicked faded away, replaced by the songs of the righteous. Those who had suffered were clothed in robes of pure light. Their steps were steady, their faces radiant. No shadow touched them. No sorrow remained. A new world dawned. The earth, once stained by blood, now glimmered under heaven's light. Enoch saw mountains covered in eternal green, rivers clear as crystal, trees heavy with fruit, and valleys where laughter echoed like music. There was no death. No graves. Only life without end. Before the throne of the Most High stood a multitude beyond number, singing praises that shook creation. Time itself bowed. Eternity stretched forth like an endless dawn. Enoch, once a mortal man, had seen all of this. The fall of angels. The cleansing flood. The final judgment. And the restoration of creation itself. He carried this vision back to us. The secrets I have seen are not just visions of heaven's glory, his voice echoes through time. They are a warning and a promise. This is the silent era. Subscribe, and step with us into the stories heaven tried to erase.